Most people think clutter is just stuff. But after 60, clutter becomes something heavier. It creeps into your time, steals your safety, and even chips away at your peace of mind. Every extra pile on the counter isn't just an eyesore, it's a delay when you're searching for important papers. Every stack on the floor isn't just forgotten junk, it's a hidden trip hazard waiting to threaten your independence. And every closet stuffed with someday items isn't just storage, it's a quiet reminder of things you'll never actually use. Imagine how different life would feel if those weights disappeared. Imagine opening your bedroom door and seeing only calm, safe, open space. Imagine knowing that everything in your home serves you, not the other way around. After 60, the real luxury isn't more things, it's more freedom, more energy, more room to live fully today. And that's exactly what these 10 unusual minimalist challenges are designed to give you. The chance to clear away what no longer serves you and make space for what truly matters. Each challenge is small enough to start right now, yet powerful enough to change the way your home feels, the way your body moves through it, and even the way you sleep at night. So if you're ready to reclaim your time, your safety, and your peace, hit that subscribe button to Wise Aging Seniors and let's start simplifying the chapters ahead. Meet Zebedee Marlow, 72, a retired jazz saxophonist from New Orleans. For more than 4 decades, his music filled smoky clubs and vibrant festival stages, and his saxophone was never far from his lips. But now, years after stepping away from the stage, Zebedee finds himself surrounded by echoes of a life lived large. Posters from gigs long past, boxes of CDs and vinyl records he rarely listens to anymore, stacks of unopened mail, and closets full of clothes that no longer fit his body or his style. He calls it nostalgia, but in truth, the clutter has begun to drown out the very memories it was meant to preserve. Zebedee isn't lazy or careless, he's sentimental. Each item tells a story. A suit he wore for his first big performance at the French Quarter Festival, a broken reed he once swore he'd frame, even tools he bought just in case but never used. He isn't holding on to things because he needs them. He's holding on to them because he fears that letting go might mean erasing the man he used to be. And that's a struggle many seniors quietly face, the line between honoring the past and being trapped by it. One evening, as he shuffled through a pile of faded posters, Zebedee realized something. His saxophone, still polished and ready, sat in the corner collecting dust. The irony hit him hard. He had kept everything around the music, but forgotten the music itself. That was his turning point. He didn't want his final years to be about tripping over boxes of someday. He wanted them to be about playing again, connecting again, living fully in the present. Through these 10 minimalist challenges, Zebedee learns that less isn't empty. It doesn't erase his past. Instead, it opens space for life's encore. By releasing the unnecessary, he discovers a home that breathes, a body that moves more freely, and a spirit that feels lighter. His story is proof that after 60, minimalism isn't about giving up, it's about creating room for the music of life to play on. Challenge 1. The Medicare Paper Purge. If you're over 60 in the US, chances are you've got a mountain of papers tied to health: Medicare letters, medical bills, supplemental insurance notices, prescription receipts, explanation of benefits forms. They come in the mail week after week, and before you know it, your desk, drawers, or even kitchen counters are drowning in paper. Some of those letters you don't even understand, others are duplicates, and most are outdated. Yet they sit there, silent reminders of illness, hospital visits, or the stress of navigating healthcare. Here's the challenge: keep only the most current year's papers. Everything else can go. You don't need that hospital bill from 2011, or that notice about a Medicare plan you didn't even enroll in. The truth is, older papers only feed anxiety. They make you feel like your health is more complicated than it really is. By cutting down to one single year, you create clarity. Imagine the relief of opening your drawer and seeing only neatly stacked papers that actually matter now: your most recent Medicare summary, your latest prescription list, your current insurance card. That's all you really need at arm's reach. The rest can be shredded, recycled, or digitized. For Zebedee Marlow, this was the hardest first step. His dining table had become a parking lot for envelopes, some unopened, others opened and just shoved aside. He admitted that every time he saw the pile, his stomach tightened. He avoided the table because it felt like it was staring back at him, whispering, "You're falling behind. You're getting old." But once he sat down, pulled out a single folder, and kept only the most recent year's papers, something shifted. The pile was gone, and so was the guilt. This challenge isn't just about organization, it's about reclaiming emotional peace. Every outdated medical letter you toss is one less shadow of sickness hovering in your home. Every page you shred is space for health, not anxiety. If you looked at your medical papers right now, how far back do they go? Would you dare keep only the most recent year? Challenge 2. The empty chair for guests rule. Look around your living room right now. Is every chair actually available for sitting? Or are some buried under laundry, magazines, unopened packages, or yesterday's jacket? For many seniors, chairs slowly become storage spots instead of places for people. And yet, one of the deepest needs after 60 is connection. Visits from children, laughter with friends, conversations over coffee. That's why this challenge is so simple but so powerful. Always keep one chair clear. This isn't just about tidiness, it's about symbolism. An empty chair whispers, "You are welcome here." It says your home has space for company, for conversations, for the unexpected joy of someone dropping by. It reminds you that your living room is not a storage unit, it's a gathering place. When a chair is buried under piles, it quietly communicates something else. No one is expected. This space is closed. And that can reinforce feelings of isolation. For Zebedee Marlow, the retired saxophonist, this challenge was personal. One day his granddaughter stopped by, eager to tell him about her new job. But when she looked around the room, every chair had something on it. Jackets, mail, even a broken lamp he planned to fix. She ended up standing awkwardly near the doorway. Zebedee said later it was like a mirror slapped in front of him. He had made more room for clutter than for the people he loved. That night, he cleared one chair and promised it would always remain open. The next week, when an old bandmate visited, that empty chair became a throne for hours of laughter and shared stories. The rule is simple but transformative. No matter what, one chair stays free. No excuses, no "I'll clear it when someone visits." Keep it ready, and you'll notice how it shifts your mindset. You'll start to expect connection again, not just clutter. If someone knocked on your door right now, would they have a place to sit? Or would you need to clear off a chair first? Challenge 3. The one photo, one story game. Photographs are some of the hardest things to let go of. After 60, many seniors have showboxes, albums, and even drawers full of snapshots, birthdays, weddings, vacations, church gatherings, and everyday moments long gone. But when there are thousands of photos, they stop being treasures and start becoming clutter. You don't relive the memories anymore, you avoid them, because sorting through them feels overwhelming. That's why this challenge flips the script. Don't keep every photo. Keep the story. Here's how it works. Choose just 10 photos at a time. On the back of each, write a 2-sentence memory. Simple, clear, heartfelt. For example, this was my first performance at Preservation Hall in 1975. The crowd clapped in rhythm before I even played a note. Or, this was Mary's 10th birthday. She cried when she saw the cake because she thought it was too pretty to cut. Suddenly, the photo isn't just an image, it's a preserved story that your children and grandchildren can understand without you having to explain later. When Zebedee Marlow tried this, he realized how powerful it was. He had boxes of blurry crowd shots from gigs, pictures of people he couldn't even name anymore, and doubles of the same moment. But when he picked his top 10, wrote a sentence or two, and tucked them into a small envelope, those 10 meant more than the hundreds he had left untouched for years. His granddaughter later told him, "Grandpa, I love the stories more than the pictures." That was when he understood. It wasn't about saving everything, it was about saving the meaning. This challenge turns piles of overwhelming photos into a curated legacy. You're not throwing memories away, you're elevating them. Instead of drowning in paper, you're giving your family a gift, stories they can carry long after you're gone. If you had to pick just 10 photos today, which ones would tell your life story best? Challenge 4. The end-of-month envelope. Junk mail is one of those sneaky forms of clutter that creeps into seniors' homes without notice. You don't invite it in, but it shows up every week. Bank offers, credit card applications, glossy catalogs, expired coupons, insurance flyers, and charity requests that never seem to end. Before long, they pile up on the dining table, the kitchen counter, or by the front door. You tell yourself you'll go through them later, but later never comes. And with every new envelope, the pile gets taller and heavier, not just on the table, but on your mind. Here's where this challenge comes in. Place a single large envelope, folder, or box in a set spot. Every time junk mail arrives, don't overthink it, drop it straight into the envelope. No sorting, no reading, no maybe I'll use this coupon someday. Just drop and go. At the end of the month, seal it up and shred or recycle the entire stack in one sweep. Done. No decisions, no guilt. You've created a system that stops clutter from controlling your space. For Zebedee Marlow, this became a game changer. He used to let catalogs pile up on his coffee table, promising himself he'd flip through them when the mood struck. But the truth? He never did. Instead, the pile reminded him of things he didn't need and money he didn't want to spend. When he tried the end-of-month envelope, he was shocked at how freeing it felt. Instead of nagging piles, he had one neat envelope and one quick shred at the end of the month. He even joked that shredding day became his victory lap. The beauty of this challenge is its simplicity. It doesn't require willpower every day, you only make one decision a month. And by giving yourself permission not to look back, you're not just tossing paper, you're tossing stress. Your home feels lighter, your counters stay clear, and your attention returns to the things that actually matter. If I peeked at your kitchen counter right now, would I find a stack of mail? Would you try the envelope trick this month? Challenge 5. The Sunday Shoes Test. Shoes tell stories. They carry the weight of where you've been. Long walks, family events, celebrations, even hospital visits. But as the years pass, shoes also multiply quietly. There's the pair you meant to get resold, the sneakers you swore you'd wear for exercise, the heels or dress shoes that pinch your feet now, and the old sandals that have seen better decades. Before long, the closet floor is crowded with shoes you no longer wear, yet can't seem to release. That's where the Sunday Shoes Test comes in. The rule is simple. Lay out every pair of shoes you own. Then ask one clear question: would I confidently wear these to Sunday service or a family wedding? If the answer is no, those shoes are not serving you anymore. Because those two settings, church and family gatherings, are moments when you want to feel comfortable, confident, and dignified. If a shoe doesn't rise to that standard, it's only taking up space. When Zebedee Marlow tried this, he laughed at himself. Spread across his living room floor were 12 pairs, old stage boots from his jazz days, 2 pairs of sneakers with soles peeling, slippers worn to threads, and dress shoes so tight they left blisters. Out of the 12, he realized only 3 pairs truly made him feel proud to walk into a room. The rest? They weren't shoes anymore, they were reminders of who he used to be, or projects he'd never finish. Letting them go wasn't losing, it was honoring his comfort and presence today. This challenge isn't just about decluttering, it's about dignity. Shoes affect posture, balance, and safety. Keeping only the ones you'd wear in meaningful moments ensures you're not just holding on to scraps of the past, but standing tall in the present. And every time you open your closet, instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel prepared. How many pairs of shoes do you own right now, and how many would actually make you feel proud at Sunday service? Challenge 6. The Sleep Sanctuary Night. Sleep is one of the most underrated parts of health after 60. Doctors talk about medications, diet, and exercise, but often overlook the space where you spend nearly a third of your life, your bedroom. For many seniors, that bedroom has quietly become a storage room, stacks of bills on the nightstand, baskets of laundry waiting to be folded, piles of books you mean to read, a tablet glowing late into the night, and sometimes even unopened mail. These things don't just clutter your space, they clutter your mind. They whisper responsibility, stress, and distraction at the very time your body most needs rest. The Sleep Sanctuary Night, is a one-evening experiment that reveals just how powerful your environment really is. The challenge: strip your bedroom of anything not directly related to rest. That means no bills staring at you from the dresser, no laundry folded halfway, no glowing screens beside the bed. Remove the clutter, dim the lights, and keep only what supports sleep: your bed, a lamp, perhaps a glass of water, and maybe one book for calm reading. For just one night, give your brain the gift of silence. When Zebedee Marlow took on this challenge, he admitted he hadn't slept through the night in years. His nightstand was a mess of receipts, broken glasses, and even spare reeds from his saxophone. He thought the problem was age or stress. But after clearing the room for a single night, he woke up the next morning with a clarity he hadn't felt in a decade. "I thought I needed a pill," he said, "but I really just needed peace." The beauty of this challenge is that it's temporary. You only commit to one night. Yet that single night often shows seniors what a true sleep sanctuary feels like. Once you've tasted that kind of rest, you'll crave it again. And from there, the clutter doesn't creep back as easily, because you've experienced the difference between a bedroom that drains you and a bedroom that restores you. This isn't about perfection, it's about permission. Permission to rest without being haunted by unfinished tasks. If you tried one night in a truly clutter-free bedroom, how do you think your sleep would change? Challenge 7. The two-generation kitchen. Kitchens often carry the heaviest kind of clutter, not because of size, but because of emotion. Over the years, they become museums of every phase of life. The bread maker you swore you'd use after retirement, the blender missing half its pieces, the chipped mugs you kept because they were still good, and the fancy serving trays that haven't seen the light of day since the last family reunion decades ago. For many seniors, these items aren't just objects. They are symbols of hospitality, family meals, and traditions. But here's the hard truth: not everything in your kitchen will move forward with you. Some things are only weighing you down, and worse, they may someday weigh down your children and grandchildren too. That's why the two-generation kitchen challenge matters. The rule is simple: hold up each gadget, pot, or dish and ask, would my children or grandchildren ever use this? If the answer is no, it's time to let it go. This isn't about stripping away your memories. It's about bridging generations, passing on tools and traditions that still have meaning, while releasing the rest so it doesn't become an inheritance of clutter. When Zebedee Marlow opened his cabinets for this challenge, he found gadgets he didn't even remember buying: 3 different juicers, a pasta roller still in its box, and a dozen mismatched mugs collected over time. But when his daughter visited, she picked out only 2 things she actually wanted: his cast-iron skillet and the old percolator that reminded her of mornings before school. The rest? She gently told him, "Dad, I wouldn't use these, and my kids wouldn't either." That was the moment he realized keeping them wasn't preserving family history, it was just postponing a decision his children would one day have to make. By letting go, Zebedee's kitchen transformed from a crowded workshop into a warm gathering place again. Instead of cabinets that made him feel guilty, he created shelves that felt welcoming, ready for a grandchild to make hot cocoa or a daughter to cook a meal with him. The clutter was gone, but the connections remained. This challenge isn't about emptiness, it's about generosity. It ensures your kitchen reflects what matters now, while protecting your family from inheriting piles of gadgets they neither want nor need. If your children opened your kitchen cabinets today, which items do you think they truly want, and which ones would they shake their heads at? Challenge 8. The Travel Light Bag Drill. There's something eye-opening about packing a bag. It forces you to choose, to prioritize, to decide what really matters for the days ahead. After 60, that choice becomes even more meaningful. Closets and drawers may be overflowing with clothes, shoes, scarves, and accessories collected over a lifetime. But how many of them are you actually using? How many pieces still fit, feel comfortable, or bring you confidence? The Travel Light Bag Drill is designed to cut through the noise. Here's how it works. Take a medium-sized bag, the kind you'd bring on a 3-day trip. Now imagine you're leaving tomorrow. No moving trucks, no storage units, just this bag. Fill it with the clothes, shoes, and personal items you'd need for 3 days. As you do, you'll notice something powerful. The pieces you reach for first aren't just practical, They're the items you love most, the ones you trust, the ones that represent your life today. For Zebedee Marlow, this exercise became a revelation. He opened his closet and found jackets from the 80s, shirts that no longer buttoned, and shoes that pinched his feet. But when he packed for his trip, he grabbed his most comfortable pair of slacks, 2 shirts he always felt sharp in, and the leather shoes he wore to both church and family dinners. That bag represented his true present, not the person he used to be, or the wishful someday version of himself. Looking back at the closet, Zebedee realized most of it wasn't his life anymore. It was storage for ghosts of the past. This drill doesn't mean you'll live out of a suitcase forever. But it does shine a light on what actually serves you now. Once you've packed the essentials, you can ask yourself, why am I holding on to everything else? That question is where the freedom begins. For seniors, especially in the US where downsizing or even moving into retirement communities is common, this exercise doubles as preparation. It shows you that you're capable of living with less, and not just surviving, but thriving. Travel light, and you carry less weight on your back, less worry in your mind, and more space in your home for peace. If you packed a bag for just 3 days, what's the very first item you'd reach for, and what would you leave behind without regret? Challenge 9. The Unplayed Song Box. Every hobby leaves behind artifacts, unfinished quilts, paintbrushes hardened with old color, fishing rods stored in the garage, or instruments collecting dust in the corner. These objects often carry powerful emotions. They remind you of who you were, what you once loved, or even what you hoped you might master one day. But after 60, many of these items stop being tools for joy and instead become quiet weights, symbols of dreams deferred, of energy that never came back, of projects that went unfinished. That's where the Unplayed Song Box comes in. The challenge is simple but direct. Gather every instrument, craft tool, or hobby supply you haven't touched in at least 5 years. Place them all in a single box. Then make one decision. Will you use them this month, or will you pass them on to someone else who will? No someday, no maybe later. It's now or never. By giving yourself a 30-day window, you draw a line between what still belongs to your life and what belongs to the past. For Zebedee Marlow, this challenge struck home. In his spare room, he had a second saxophone with a cracked reed, a trumpet he swore he'd learn one day, and stacks of music sheets yellowed with time. He realized he hadn't touched the trumpet in nearly a decade. As he placed it into the box, he felt a pang of guilt, but also a release. He decided to donate it to a local high school, where a young student who couldn't afford an instrument could finally play. When he later heard that the student used it in a school concert, Zebedee said it felt like a song he couldn't play anymore had finally been set free. That's the heart of this challenge. It's not about shame for what you didn't do, it's about generosity and closure. Every unplayed instrument, every unused tool, every craft left unfinished carries energy. By either using it or passing it on, you let that energy flow again. And in return, you lighten your own space, remove the quiet guilt of someday, and make peace with the reality of today. This challenge is especially meaningful for seniors because it reframes letting go. You're not discarding failed dreams, you're releasing potential into the world, giving others a chance to pick up where you left off. And often, that act feels more fulfilling than holding on to an object ever did. What's sitting in your home right now that you haven't touched in over 5 years, and would you use it this month or pass it on? Challenge 10. The Final Gift List. There comes a time after 60 when the question of what happens to all of this quietly starts to weigh on your mind. Closets filled with clothes, cabinets stuffed with dishes, shelves crowded with knickknacks, and boxes of keepsakes in the attic. So much of it has meaning to you, but how much of it will hold meaning for those you leave behind? The truth is, most of it won't. Children and grandchildren often don't want every dish, every sweater, or every tool. What they cherish are the pieces that hold your story. That's where the final gift list becomes powerful. Here's the challenge. Sit down and write out the 5 possessions you would most want passed on. Just 5. Not 50, not 500, 5. These might be your wedding ring, your grandfather's Bible, the quilt you stitched by hand, your saxophone, or the photo album that tells the story of your family. By limiting the number, you force yourself to decide what truly carries your legacy. Once you've written the list, simplify the rest. Not everything has to be saved. And in that decision, you don't just lighten the load for your family one day, you also lighten your own life today. When Zebedee Marlow worked through this, he realized something startling. He had dozens of instruments, stacks of music posters, and drawers of old clothing from his performing years. But when he pictured his children and grandchildren holding his memory, only a few things stood out: his first saxophone, the record of his debut album, a faded photograph of him with his band in New Orleans, his well-worn Bible, and the pocket watch his father had given him. Those 5 became his final gift list. The rest, he began to let go of, donating, selling, or giving away while he was still alive. This isn't about preparing for death, it's about living with clarity. By identifying your final gifts, you create peace for yourself and remove a future burden from your loved ones. More importantly, you free up space to enjoy your home today, without the background worry of what will happen to all this stuff. The final gift list is an act of love, not loss. It says, these are the 5 things that matter most. The rest is just weight I no longer need. And in doing so, you ensure your legacy is not about piles of clutter, but about the treasures that carry your story forward with dignity. If you had to choose only 5 possessions to pass on, which would make your final gift list? When Zebedee Marlow first started this journey, his home felt more like a museum than a sanctuary. Posters from long-forgotten gigs lined the walls, unopened mail hid his dining table, instruments he hadn't touched in years gathered dust, and his bedroom was weighed down with reminders of tasks undone. Every corner whispered of the past, yet very little made room for his present. It was a life heavy with history but light on peace. Now, his space tells a different story. The posters are gone, but one framed photograph of his band remains, honoring his past without overwhelming him. His saxophone isn't locked in its case but stands proudly on display, ready to be played whenever the mood strikes. That one empty chair in his living room now waits for friends, his granddaughter, or an old bandmate to fill it. And his bedroom? It no longer hums with stress from unpaid bills and laundry piles. Instead, it feels like what it was always meant to be, a true sanctuary for rest, where sleep comes easily and mornings begin without dread. The transformation wasn't about erasing his identity or forgetting the life he built. It was about choosing which parts of that life deserved space today, and which needed to be released. Zebedee discovered what every senior can: minimalism after 60 isn't about stripping life away. It's about designing the encore you truly deserve, one filled with clarity, comfort, and connection. Think about what that could mean for you. Maybe it's walking through your home without fear of tripping. Maybe it's knowing your children won't inherit boxes of clutter they'll resent sorting through. Or maybe it's as simple as sitting in a quiet, uncluttered room and feeling your shoulders drop because, for the first time in years, your home feels like peace. If even one of these challenges sparked an idea in your heart, take that as your starting point. Begin small, but begin today. Simplifying after 60 is not about less living, it's about more living. If even one challenge sparked an idea, hit like, share this with a friend over 60, and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, because the best encore begins with less.